an instinct I have is that crypto has been a retail-driven phenomena. I just call it the people's revolution, right? I think retail will take us out of this bear market. Not with no help from institutions, but it's going to take retail. Like the cheap money that will be lent will be retail money. And what's interesting is people believe in this space. They make mistakes, they see frauds, but they come back to it. They believe in decentralized systems. They believe in Bitcoin. They believe in Ethereum. They believe that in time we're going to cut the middleman out. Do they feel silly that we talked about decentralization and, we had this one giant player in FTX that literally lied through their teeth and was literally one of the core pieces of infrastructure? Yes. Everyone's like, duh. But they haven't given up on the dream. And how I keep 400 employees working here is we believe that these systems are going to be very important, and that if we do our job really well and build architecture that people want to use, information architecture, trading architecture, and do it at a cost structure that we can afford, when the broader adoption comes, we're going to, be.
I just think that, the interest has not died down. We can see interest from, a lot of interest in NFTs from corporations, marketing. There's still activity around, but, it's a nascent space and everyone has to learn lessons. And unfortunately, in this space, you learn it the hard way.
To paraphrase their respective arguments, Pal and Novogratz claim that this has happened before and that cryptocurrencies will come back stronger than ever in 2023. But everyone kind of builds back stronger because we've seen this from MTGOX to Bitfinex. You name it, all the mistakes. Raoul Pal stated, and Mike Novogratz added, this is harder because it's on a bigger scale, budgets were bigger. People got comfortable with higher salaries. Companies like ours were bringing Wall Street people and they're much more expensive than startup people. And so you got to convince people like this is a startup business for most people, and so we definitely stand back and free shove this back 2 years.
But, everyone kind of builds back stronger because we've seen this from Mt. Gox to Bitfinex to, you name it, all the mistakes get made.
You said this is harder because it's on a bigger scale, right? Budgets were bigger. People got comfortable with higher salaries, right? Companies like ours were bringing Wall Street people and they're much more expensive than startup people. And so you got to convince people this is a startup business again for most people. And so we were definitely, Sam Bankman-Fried shoved us back 2 years. I hope we go springing back a much better ecosystem, right? A lot more thought on how do you use transparency of blockchains to verify stuff. We need a few breakthroughs, right? We need zero knowledge proofs to actually start showing up in stuff. Like I theoretically told the story of the ID and why, your daughter doesn't need to show her address to the bouncer, but we need that shit to start happening. The CEO of Microsoft talked about, blockchain and crypto needs its ChatGPT.
Yeah, I saw that, and he's right.
Yeah. I thought it was NFTs last year, and I still am a big believer in NFTs. We just invested more money in a project called Candy. And I do think NFTs are going to play a big part of it.
Digital ID is the big one for me. I think that's the billion people unlock.
Yeah. And we'll get there. It's just, for every guy running a business, God, I'd like to think we get there in the next 2 to 3 years, or I'm going to be gurgling from underwater, right? And weirdly, and I've told my staff this, you have to believe, not that Bitcoin's going to 100,000 or 200,000, but it is going to be higher than 20 in 2 years' time, or this is too painful a place to work. Not Galaxy, the industry, right? So we do need adoption. We do need those communities to grow, people to believe, because that's what funds the technology growth. That's what funds the momentum of drawing smart people in.
You sound like you're a bit shaken up still, though, because it's been...
Listen, I am angry, but I just invested $45 million in a Israeli security company called GK8, which we think is world class. That's going to help us be a SaaS player in essence, providing solutions to people for their personal custody or their company custody. We invested $100 million in a mining facility in Texas, and so infrastructure we're leaning into. We did other loans. We invested money into Candy, which is a big NFT platform, and so I spent a decent chunk of change in December. I being we at Galaxy.
Yeah.
And that wasn't without a lot of thought, right? Like the simple hedge fund solution would have been fire everybody, bunker down, hold, liquefy your assets and trade your way out of until the bull market starts, right? And of course that goes through your head. Can we build an organization that we're proud of that sits in the center, are part of the center of institutional participation in this, and is it going to be worth a lot if we do it? Like, we chose the harder path, and so we're betting with our money.
I still think, I still speak to the institutions. They're still all interested in the space.
We did a webinar yesterday. We had 600 people on it. I was like, can you guys each give me $1?
But I mean, I don't see a lack of interest. They're just gun shy. And you know what institutions are like.
Think about the two big Canadian pension funds. 2 of the 4 big Canadian pension funds made big investments into crypto in 2021. 300 million into Celsius and 400 million into FTX. Both zeros within 6 months of making the investment. And so you got to be pretty stinking brave to be a Canadian pension fund guy to say, hey, I'm next. And so it's just it's so unfreaking fortunate that, people got caught up in the frenzy and the fraudulence, and because you don't know how many times me and my team have made presentations to Canadian pension funds and been there. This is starting in 2014. Dan Moore was going up there, I think, in 13. And to kind of get them all engaged, because always their employees were engaged. And then to have black eye, it's going to take a lot of courage for the next guy to make an investment.
But I do think they're kind of short upside calls because, they're mainly momentum guys, right? So maybe not in the VC side for a bit, but in the market side, my guess is if ETH's trading at 3,000 and they can get a yield, they'll be herding into the space right now, and they should be buying it up.
Why I said, like, if I was a field general, I would be doing, the Braveheart speech to all the retail guys out there. Crypto needs the retail participants to come back to these communities, to buy in, to believe, to drive price, because that's what's going to get institutions back engaged. Institutions intellectually understand this business. They had blockchain versus Bitcoin versus Ethereum. They've done all their homework. They're gun shy. It is going to take energy, price. Energy is price. And so why, there was this announcement today that the DOJ was going to, and I was like,
everyone was like, it's Binance, it's Binance.
Like, please don't have it be Binance. Please don't. Like, listen, we need to cheer for Binance. Like we do, they are 60% of the liquidity, or 40, some giant percentage of the liquidity. CZ has been always very focused on customer service. And so he's got a very loyal, giant retail following that believe in our ecosystem. Like, we need those guys. And it drives me crazy how many people on Twitter and other media, just want to smash people down and would be nothing happier than if CZ, stepped on a banana peel and slipped on his ass. It's the wrong thinking. We need CZ to succeed, right? We need Galaxy to succeed.
That's it for today's video. Leave a comment with your ideas below, and we appreciate you tuning in to Market Empire. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.